Rob, who you trashing?
The Denver Chicken Nuggets.
Wow.
What was that?
Wowzy,
What was
woo.
that? I mean, come
Wow.
on, Chris. Wow.
Well, now
Wow.
you say that. Let's get right into it because that's our topic. So I'm going to let you go. Go ahead and do your trash. Are they done? They're down 2-0. I'll set the stage for you. They're down 2-0. Lost the first 2 games at home. Obviously need to win 4 of the next 5. Rob, only 5 times in the history of the NBA playoffs has a team come back and won the series after losing the first 2 games at home. And so I ask you, are the Denver, as you call them, Chicken Nuggets, done?
No way, no how.
Don't sound like trash talk to me.
No, but I mean, just the performance, because I could trash the performance. This is a team that won a championship. This is a team that's been battle-tested. And the young upstart kids, and I know they're not all kids, but the Timberwolves haven't been there yet, haven't done that. And I'm not going to, because a series can easily turn around with 1 game. It can. If they win game 3 in Minnesota, then you start to think something different is happening. It's that simple. So I'm not there to say, and have they played their best basketball or played what I'm used to watching with the Denver Nuggets? Absolutely not. If they had played their best basketball, Chris, and were down 0-2 after losing 2 games at home, I'd be like, oh, yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything there or any improvement that can happen or changes or whatever it is, or can they play better? I'm always afraid of teams that play their best. I always talk to you about that game 1 when the Lakers lost last year in Denver and AD had the 40 piece. You remember, I always talk about that game because when you play that well and you don't win, you start to look and go, well, what game are you really going to win? And of
What
course,
about the opponent making you not play well?
Yeah, I get that, but I don't think I've seen the best of the Denver Nuggets. I think there's more to them. I'm going to the defending champs have to lose 4 games before I'm there. I'm just not going to go down that road, Chris. It looks daunting, and I know it's different. We talked about it before. The Suns, I think they won their first 2 games in the finals at home, and then they lost the next 4. People can lose 4 games. It doesn't look like the Timberwolves are ever going to lose a game. That's the way that they're playing. They don't look like they'll ever.
They're on a historic run. They're 6-0 in the playoffs. And think of this, Rob, 6-0 against Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Nikola Jokic, and Jamal Murray.
Yeah,
I mean, that's impressive.
It's impressive.
And they've won 4 of those games on the road and by an average of 15 points.
You know what they feel like, Chris?
What?
The Texas Rangers last year. Remember they didn't lose a road game? They won the World Series.
Yeah.
They didn't lose a road game.
I'm going to say this to your commentary. Stop it! Rob Parker, stop being mealy-mouthed. Stop being, I'm going to trash them. They're not done. I haven't seen the best of them. Give me something concrete. The reason they're playing so poorly is because Minnesota has put it on them. I agree they have the heart of champions. I have nothing but respect for Jokic and Murray and Michael Malone and so on and so forth. But I think they're in trouble. Now, they may come back. I'll pick Minnesota in 7. I don't think it looks like it's not going 7 now, but they may come back and make it a series. But, Rob, I'm just going to keep it real. I think Minnesota's better. I think they're better. They have the size to make it tough on Jokic, Rob. This is the first time I've seen Jokic, at least recently, like the last few years, where now he's still, let's keep it real, he's still averaging 24, 12 boards, and 8.5 assists.
Right. I mean,
now,
that's
he's not being
right,
efficient.
Right,
he's not being efficient. He's only shooting 42%, 20% from 3, so he's not being efficient. But, Rob, this is one of the few times, or certainly the only time recently, that I've watched him, and it looks like, man, his lack of athleticism, inability to jump, lack of speed is a problem. That's what Minnesota's making him look like. I said on TV today, Rob, the Nuggets look like that suburban team playing a team from the hood for the first time. And like, oh, what the? I mean, that defense, especially in game 2, has been tenacious. Their athleticism, their length. And beyond that, Rob, they've got shooting. They were the 3rd best three-point shooting team in the league. And they've got the one spectacular player that can, when all else fails, he can create, of course, Anthony Edwards. And, Rob, they really have 2 number 1 options. Karl Anthony Towns is a number 1 option. 23 points, 12 rebounds, 52% shooting, 40% from 3 for his career. Not this year, his career. I don't think he's a number 1 like personality. I don't think he has that dog of a number 1 in him, but he's a number 1, got number 1 game. Kind of like Anthony Davis, I don't think he has number 1 mentality, but
right,
number
but
1 game.
The numbers speak for himself. Right?
Yeah, I mean, so you got 2 go-to guys offensively. You got role players that can shoot. They're athletic, they're long, they're tenacious. And here's the other thing, and we'll talk about this in detail, obviously, later on in the show. But, Rob, if Jamal Murray is suspended, and we'll give our opinions on whether or not he should be later, but, Rob, if he's suspended for throwing that heating pad at a referee onto the court, then, man, it's hard to see them winning game 3 in Minnesota. And, of course, Minnesota showed, at least against Phoenix, Rob, that they're not going to take their foot off the gas. That they're not going to let up. They're not going to get big-headed. They're not going to, put the cart before the horse. That they're not going to think this thing is over until it's actually over. So I do think the Nuggets are done. And we'll see. The question to me is how competitive they make this thing.
Yeah, it's the shooting that I don't expect to continue, okay? Murray, 28.1%, Chris, from the field. Porter shooting 40%. The Joker you mentioned, 42%. That's going to continue the entire series, especially when you look at their playoff careers.
By that calf, too.
Didn't look like it against the Lakers. He looked pretty good, but I get it.
That's
he hasn't
what
played
I'm saying.
as well.
That defense, man. It's the reason.
The Joker,
they may shoot a little better, but it's
the Joker's averaged
so
53%, Chris, in his career in the playoffs. Porter 46, and Murray from 46 to 28 is a big drop off, and that's why they're in the hole that they're in. But again, I don't want you to get my trash caught up with my take. My trash was for the performance yesterday, okay? But my take is that I have not thrown in the towel. Throw the towel in. I'm not throwing the towel in yet on the champs. I'm going to let this series play out. And even in your circumstance, and I get it, Chris, when you win the first, it's the same way I wouldn't have counted out the T-Wolves if they would have lost the first 2 games at home. I wouldn't have.
Really?
No, I wouldn't have.
If they had lost the first 2 at home,
no.
I
meant had they lost the first 2 in Denver.
But that's different. That's what I'm saying.
No. I said that. I'm just saying I expect this to be a series. I expect Denver to fight back. I really do. I don't think this is. And this, you know what? I remember.
Huh? Like all this Michael Malone going crazy and. I don't know what in the world has gotten into Jamal Murray. And I'm not
like
talking about his play. I'm talking about
some of the Ravens throwing helmets during the AFC Championship
man. They look frustrated. And they are frustrated, and it's understandable why. These dudes are swarming them, Rob. They got the number 1 defense in the league by a mile. I mean, they were number 1 by like 2 points, which is a big deal in the league. And last night, without the defensive player of the year, they held Denver to 35% shooting, below 35%. So, I mean, I agree that I think Denver will shoot it a little better.
On Gobert's baby. Congrats.
Congratulations to Rudy Gobert's baby.
Yes,
and to, he just won Defensive Player of the Year, Rob. Ties the record for 4-time Ben Wallace and Dikembe Mutombo.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 4-time defensive players of the year.
I'm not surprised, Chris. I know you voted for Wemby, but you didn't think he was going to win. You didn't even
I thought
with your
Gobert,
vote, right?
I think Wemby deserved it. I think last night kind of was like, wow, they that good. They just a great defensive team. Now, Gobert's great. I have no problem with him winning it, Rob, because he is a very good defender.
I think Wemby playing in so many games that don't matter. I think that hurt him. I
think some people probably took. I think they held the record against them. I think the 18 straight L's, rookie, all that stuff. But congratulations, Gobert, on both fronts, and that's awesome, man.
And he wasn't crazy for staying home with the baby in the first.
And
I'm sorry. I'm not.
I think it's to each his own. I gotta be honest, and I was there for the birth of my twins. I named them. I mean, my wife, we had picked the names before, but I actually was holding them. She's like out, and I'm holding them, and I said, "This is Noel, and this one's Alexis."
Wow, that's a great moment there.
Yeah, but I can't honestly say, like, would I have played? I might have. I'm not gonna rip a guy. It's your decision. But I don't know.
You know what? I always have respect for people.
I wouldn't have mind. I'm not saying I wouldn't have played.
In those moments, you have a right to what's going to be long lasting in your life, the life of your child or your career or a game, and just like Sandy Koufax when he pitched for the Dodgers, remember? He didn't pitch in the Jewish holidays.
Right.
Those were religious holidays to Sandy Koufax, and if it fell on a Jewish holiday, he did not pitch. It was just that simple.
Yeah, I wouldn't have judged him either way. Like I said, I don't know what I would have done. But I think it's more important to raise your child. That's the biggest part than just being there for the birth. But that's important too. And I was a great moment. We got pictures, obviously, and everything.
Right.
So,
and the other thing, too, is I think if you're Rudy Gobert, and Chris, I've never had a kid. I practice a lot. It just hasn't happened. But I'm going to say this. You know what? If there's a complication or something goes wrong, you will never, you know what I mean? And you're not there. I think
that's true. That would be
Chris,
tough.
Am I right? That would
you
be
really have to. You have to make sure your wife is totally good.
Do you know what I mean?
But also, like you said, even if she's good with it and something goes wrong, it could change her mind. So that's a great point.